The show must go on, ladies and gentlemen. I am so tired. But you know how you get that feeling when you lay down and you be so tired, but then once you lay down, you don't be tired no more, so you just get up, you want to do something. Well, I walked the dog, and now we're going to talk about 39-4 with 32 knockouts, the WBC 160-pound catchweight champion, Miguel Cotto. So, I have a reputation as of late of being a Miguel Cotto hater or being too critical of Miguel Cotto, but this is the reason why. He announced on social media that he will not be fighting again this year. He was supposed to be fighting on December the 13th on HBO pay-per-view. Then we found out, okay, well, it's going to be on regular HBO. So what I'm thinking to myself is, just like the song, the female plays a song I was just listening to, he's starting to look like that diva, ladies and gentlemen. You mean to tell me he couldn't call up a Billy Joe Saunders? He couldn't call up a Felix Sturm? Now, we know Martin Murray's booked up. We know Matt Korobov's booked up. We know Golovkin's is booked up. Marco Antonio Rubio is booked up. Danny Jacobs just fought. But what I'm trying to say is this. So you're not going to just fight nobody? Now, what I'm saying is this. Now, if he would have fought this year, he would have fought an opponent. It would have had to be an opponent that would be better than when he fought Delvin Rodriguez, but not a Sergio Martinez or a Golovkin or whatever the case may be. I was hoping Sam Solomon, myself, or Martin Murray. There was even rumors about maybe Andy Lee. But, so, if he would have fought in December, then we know about his plans or his goals to fight Canelo, or what the public's goal for him is to fight Canelo in 2015. And then he has to fight, as long as he's still a WBC 160-pound champion, he has to fight Golovkin or Rubio sometime next year if he still has that belt. That's mandatory. So what I'm seeing is, okay, he's saying he's going to return early 2015. So meaning that would have to mean, well, he got to be fighting in April, because if they're trying to fight, him and Canelo trying to fight in May to take over Cinco de Mayo weekend, then I mean, where does that leave room to train and to promote the fight and everything? So what I'm saying is this. Okay, let's say, for example, if he fights in January. Let's say he suffers a cut. You know, everything's not stitched up and healed up till March. You know, and then he's got to fight in 2 more months. You know, that Miguel Cotto's not the type of guy to put his schedule that close together like that. But what I am thinking is that, you know, maybe that May, what is it, May the 2nd, 2015 date, maybe that date is really Mayweather-Pacquiao, because it's not going to be Canelo versus Cotto from what we're saying right now. But truthfully, I'm just trying to wrap my head around the situation. The news just broke out like a couple hours ago. Like I said, I was laying down, scrolling, and I was like, what the fuck? You know, and I thought to myself, I knew it. But then I had to think, like, well, all the other 160-pounders are booked up, you know, fighting in October and November and such. So I'm just thinking to myself, well, you're just not going to fight at all. I mean, you couldn't have fought nobody at 154 or anything. I mean, it's not like he's a full 160-pounder. He's 150. Well, he weighed in at 155 pounds. So far, you got Erislandy Lara, Saul Canelo Alvarez, and Miguel Cotto, fighting at the junior weight division, if that makes sense. So they're all fighting at 155, and I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, what about Erislandy Lara? He can fight in December. So you see what I'm saying? Now, when I talk about the Al Heyman fighters and Miguel Cotto, how he's working with Bob Arum right now, I'm not saying that Miguel Cotto signed to a contract. I'm saying that he's already chose to work with HBO and Bob Arum for the Sergio Martinez fight and his next fight. But he's saying he's not fighting in December, so I'm thinking, well, will you work? How is this working out? Now, Canelo, I actually got a chance to speak to Oscar De La Hoya yesterday, and Canelo may be fighting on HBO, and it's looking likely that he's going to fight on HBO. Because when I asked De La Hoya if there was rumors of Clottey, Canelo fighting Joshua Clottey were true, you know what he said? He said, well, yeah, that's true. Demetrius Andre, James Kirkland, and just by that, that's 2 HBO fighters. So I'm thinking, oh, yo, looking at HBO fighters, that makes sense, right? So what I'm wondering, it's like, okay, well, if Canelo is fighting on HBO, most likely. And Miguel Cotto is right there on HBO. I'm thinking like, well, why can't you fight in December? Now I know as far as the marketing and promotion, I understand that part. But if you really think about it, it's enough time. Canelo fought in July, and then Cotto fought in June. So therefore, you would have August, September, October, November, and then December, or half of December if it was December. So what I get from it is it can't be Canelo versus Cotto on pay-per-view because Canelo still owes Showtime that deal. Bob Arum at Showtime. The fact that Cotto is working with Top Rank and Bob Arum right now is just a very confusing situation. And I can go on all day, but then I'll have to go back talking about, how Al Heyman and all the fighters, and I just don't feel like telling that story over and over again. But what I will say is this. Miguel Cotto could have fought somebody. You're just going to take the whole year off. It's already stuff. It doesn't help me. As a fan, it doesn't help me because you know why? Because I've been critical of his 160-pound reign and saying, oh, he ain't going to fight no real 160-pounders. He just don't fight nobody at all. So it's like, you're not going to fight nobody at 154. You're not going to fight no catchweight. You're not, and I'm looking at it like this, it's the diva in him. He's looking like, I don't want to fight him. No, I'm not fighting him. Now, we know who Miguel Cotto is. We know Miguel Cotto fought Floyd Mayweather. We know Miguel Cotto is, I would say, the number 4 guy in pay-per-view as far as, I'm talking about headliner, because people like to say Marquez, and I'm talking about headlining their pay-per-views. We got Floyd Mayweather, we got Manny Pacquiao, we got Saul Canelo, and then we got Miguel Cotto. So I understand Miguel Cotto, on a business standpoint, like I'm not fighting this guy or that guy, but then we got Pacquiao fighting Chris Algieri. Floyd Mayweather fought Marcos Maidana, and people they was like, Marcos Maidana what? Didn't even buy the first fight to the expectations of Showtime. So I just don't see you know what I'm going to do? Give me a minute. I'm going to pull up the 160-pounders and the 154-pounders. So, at 160 pounds, we got, now, Golovkin's booked up, Sam Solomon's booked up, Peter Quillen's booked up, or maybe Sergio Martinez, we know what happened to him. Felix Sturm, that's a fight Cotto could fight. Martin Murray, he's booked up. Matt Korobov is booked up. Daniel Geale got his face punched in. Daniel Jacobs been fighting on Showtime, and then we have David Lemieux. David Lemieux will be a very good fight, but see, David Lemieux is not on what Miguel Cotto's standard would be. David Lemieux doesn't have any selling power, even though he's going out there beating people the fuck up. So you got Marco Antonio Rubio who is booked up. Billy Joe Saunders, who, if you don't know, he's a British fighter, UK fighter. He's heavily linked to be fighting in a big domestic fight against I forgot Chris Eubank Jr. I almost forgot my homie name. And then you got Matthew Macklin. But see, let's move on. Let's move to the light middleweight division, and that was 160. We're gonna move to 154. Now you got Alvarez, Lara, Carlos Molina. No, not that Molina, but we know Molina's fighting in Alvarez and Erislandy Lara just fought. We know Carlos Molina's fighting Demetrius Andrade. We got Carlos Molina's fighting Kenan Bundrage. We got Demetrius Andrade, who is in those James Kirkland, Joshua Clottey for Canelo rumors. But either way, any 3 of those guys can still fight Miguel Cotto. So you got Ishe Smith. Okay, we already know how Heyman fighter, whatever the case may be. Jamel Charlo and the brothers Charlo. You can also maybe, just maybe have a rematch with Austin Trout. Maybe if they want to say, all right, well, Cotto, go out there and get this, whatever the case may be. If you don't know, Austin Trout fought a guy by Daniel Dawson, and he didn't look too spectacular. So you got Venus Monterosian, and we're going to leave it at that. Sergey Rabchenko, he's going to be fighting Anthony Mundine, and then Andy Lee. And what I'm saying to you is, now, even though a lot of those guys are booked up, or they're Al Heyman fighters that don't fight on HBO or whatever the case may be, then he could have fought somebody else. You get what I'm saying? It just I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but you're a champion. You're not injured. You're just going to take the year off. You're not Floyd Money Mayweather. Anyway, I'm T Street Controversy. I call the show T Street Controversy Live. And I call it that because I do all my shows unedited, uncut. And like I said, sometimes I just be thinking about boxing. And I was in the bed and I was going through my social media and I was like, Cotto, you son of a bitch. And I got up, I went to the bathroom, took a piss. You know, I grabbed my controversial hat, wash my hands, grabbed my controversial hat and I was like, you gotta talk. But anyway, T Street Controversy Live.